Welcome, Shadow Seekers, to American Shadows, Crimes and Chronicles. Today, we're unearthing a tale that'll haunt your thoughts long after it ends. Whether you're glued to the screen or just listening in, you're in for a wild ride through history's darkest corners. If you're new, hit subscribe to join our mission of exposing America's hidden truths. Regulars, your likes fuel our journey into the unknown. Now, let's peel back the layers of time and reveal the secrets beneath. Ready? Let's begin. America's Prince, the shocking demise of John F. Kennedy Jr. Gather round, folks, because I've got a tale that's bound to captivate your imagination and send chills down your spine. It's a story of hope, tragedy, and the lingering shadows of America's most storied political family. This is the haunting saga of the John F. Kennedy Jr. plane crash on July 16, 1999. Picture this. A hazy summer evening and a small single-engine Piper Saratoga aircraft takes off from New Jersey's Essex County Airport at 8:38 p.m. At the controls is John F. Kennedy Jr., the golden boy of Camelot, son of the beloved late President John F. Kennedy. Beside him sits his wife of nearly 3 years, Carolyn Kennedy, and in the back, her sister Lauren Bissett. Their destination? The Kennedy family compound in Hyannisport, Massachusetts, with a stop at Martha's Vineyard to drop off Lauren. John F. Kennedy Jr. wasn't just any celebrity. He was John, the little boy who had saluted his father's casket on his 3rd birthday. He was the heir to Camelot, the Kennedy mystique that had captivated the nation since the 1960s. Known for his charm and charisma, he had grown up under the intense glare of public scrutiny, from that poignant salute to his transformation into a dashing and charismatic man. He was seen as a symbol of hope and resilience, embodying the Kennedy family's enduring spirit. The journey began with a series of complications. Kennedy, who had earned his pilot's license over a year earlier, had logged around 310 hours of flight time, but only about 36 of those were at night. He was not certified for instrument-only flight, a crucial detail given the conditions he would soon face. The flight was already delayed by the late arrival of Carolyn, who had been caught in Friday evening traffic. As night fell, visibility began to deteriorate. The conditions were less than ideal for a pilot of Kennedy's experience level. Haze obscured the horizon, creating a perilous situation for a pilot without instrument training. Despite these conditions, Kennedy decided to proceed, likely underestimating the difficulty of navigating in such low visibility. As the Piper Saratoga flew over the Atlantic Ocean, heading towards Martha's Vineyard, tragedy struck. At approximately 9:41 p.m., radar data showed the aircraft in a rapid descent. Then, silence. No distress call was ever received. The plane had simply vanished into the dark waters below. The disappearance of Kennedy's plane sparked one of the most extensive search and rescue operations in U.S. Coast Guard history. For days, teams scoured the waters off Martha's Vineyard, hoping against hope to find survivors. The nation held its breath, memories of past Kennedy tragedies fresh in the collective consciousness. The search operation turned into a national vigil, with media coverage intensifying the nation's focus on this unfolding tragedy. 5 days after the crash, on July 21st, divers finally located the wreckage of the plane about 7 miles off the coast of Martha's Vineyard, in waters 120 feet deep. The bodies of all 3 occupants were recovered, still strapped in their seats. The American prince, his princess, and her sister were gone, leaving behind a grieving nation and a host of unanswered questions. The National Transportation Safety Board's investigation would later conclude that the probable cause of the crash was the pilot's failure to maintain control of the airplane during a descent over water at night, which was a result of spatial disorientation. Simply put, Kennedy had become disoriented in the hazy conditions and inadvertently flew his plane into the ocean. But for many, this explanation wasn't enough. The Kennedy name had long been associated with tragedy and conspiracy, and this latest disaster was no exception. Theories began to circulate almost immediately. Some claimed the plane had been sabotaged, others suggested it had been shot down. The idea of a simple pilot error seemed too mundane for a family that had captured America's imagination for decades. The crash struck a particularly poignant chord with the American public. Carolyn Kennedy, too, had captured the public's imagination. A former Calvin Klein publicist, she had brought a touch of modern glamour to the Kennedy legacy. Lauren Bissett, often overlooked in the narrative, was a successful investment banker. Their deaths alongside John were a stark reminder of how tragedy can strike indiscriminately. The aftermath of the crash saw an outpouring of national grief, reminiscent of the aftermath of President Kennedy's assassination in 1963. The Kennedy family, no strangers to public mourning, once again found themselves at the center of a national tragedy. Senator Ted Kennedy, John's uncle, delivered a eulogy that moved the nation. We dared to think, in that other Irish phrase, that this John Kennedy would live to comb gray hair with his beloved Carolyn by his side. But like his father, he had every gift but length of years. The crash of John F. Kennedy Jr. Pettis plane was not just a personal tragedy. It marked the end of an era for the Kennedy family and the nation. His death seemed to mark the final chapter in a story of promise and tragedy that had played out on the national stage for nearly 4 decades. It was seen as a cruel twist of fate, another chapter in the Kennedy curse narrative that had plagued the family for decades. As the years have passed, the memory of that tragic July night has not faded. The loss of John F. Kennedy Jr., Carolyn and Lauren continues to be mourned, their potential unfulfilled, their stories unfinished. The crash serves as a sobering reminder of the fragility of life, even for those who seem touched by destiny. Yet, in the face of this tragedy, the legacy of John F. Kennedy Jr. endures. He is remembered not just for his untimely death, but for his efforts to carve out his own path, from his career as an assistant district attorney to founding the political magazine George. His charm, dedication, and the promise he embodied continue to inspire, serving as a poignant reminder of what was lost on that fateful night. As we reflect on this dark chapter of American history, we're left to ponder the nature of fate, the price of fame, and the enduring fascination with the Kennedy family. The crash that claimed John F. Kennedy Jr., Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, and Lauren Bessette is more than just a tragic accident. It's a story that touches on themes of legacy, mortality, and the American dream itself. This is American Shadows, where we delve into the darkest corners of our nation's past. The story of the Kennedy plane crash reminds us that tragedy can strike anyone, anywhere, regardless of fame or fortune. As we close this chapter, we're left to wonder, in the face of such random tragedy, how do we make sense of our own fragile existence? And what lessons can we draw from the all-too-brief lives of those we've lost? Join us next time as we uncover more tales that shaped the fabric of our nation. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and remember, history is never just black and white.